This is Sports with Blake.
Hey, my people. Welcome to Sports with Blake podcast, episode 9. It's all about the mindset, mentality, life. We're back. All things football, and we're ready to rock and roll. I'm Dan Blake. Pleasure to be with you. We're going to be talking all the latest topics and also giving you a bit of insight into my sporting mindset and my lifestyle in football and boxing, and just going around, as a fan, supporting these great sports and sharing the stories from these great sports as well that I've enjoyed over the years. So let's get right to it.
Then what's the most interesting place you met a footballer?
Well. Let's go back to my days when I was, I was working in hospitality for a company that basically had a contract with Emirates, at Arsenal Football Club Stadium. It was a good day, just, doing my usual rounds, going around the ground, looking after the staff, putting them in their areas, making sure they're okay, which is one of the jobs. And the thing about that job, which was cool, was like you get to go around the stadium, mix and mingle with people. Sometimes you'll pop your head out into the stadium area when the games are going on, or when the players are warming up and they're training and doing their thing. And you kind of get a vibe for the atmosphere around the ground on match day. And with that being said, I was just going for my stroll on level 1 in Arsenal, as they call it, in the Emirates. And as I was doing my laps, circling, I bumped into I would say a Manchester United legend, as you can see the badge right there, a defender, one of the, I would say, best defenders that Man United ever had, to be fair, and he was really, really good as a right back. Bumped into the old Gary Neville. So it was one of them situations where I was walking, and then I turned around. When you walk and you turn around, in the comments if you can relate, when you walk and you turn around and someone's right there. Literally, it was one of them scenarios where I was walking, I turned around, bam, boom, bam, Gary Neville was right there behind me. And I was just in my face, that was my facial expression. But the first thing that came out my mouth was, Man United for life. And I shook his hand. He did not say nothing. He just looked at me and then just smiled, and then he just carried on walking. But it was such a weird moment, because I think about that all the time. I'm like, wow, why was that the first thing I said out of my mouth? I was pledging such allegiance. It shows you how much I love my club. The first thing I said to Gary Neville was, hey Gary, nice to meet you. It was like, Man United for life. It was. I think because I was at the Emirates, I felt a bit of I felt like, yeah, man, he's with us. A fellow United man, taking the pressure off.
What game was it?
Well, it was Arsenal-Chelsea. Yeah, okay. It was a London derby. It was back in it was a good couple of years ago now. But, I think it was kind of the early days when Gary Neville started at Sky Sports, to be fair, in the commentating the early days. Because, it was kind of weird seeing, the days where in punditry, where you would see some of the big players, at proper rival clubs doing the commentary. So, they probably get jeered a lot when they're going to commentate the game or whatnot. But yeah, that was a great experience, man. Man United for life. We're represented. That's what I said to Gary. And if I see him again, I'll probably say the same thing. So that was my experience of, meeting a Premier League footballer, in a quite random situation. That was really dope, man.
Okay, cool. So talk to me, open football grounds.
Well, open football grounds, oh, man. People, when I say open football grounds, what I mean, and I want to talk generational as well. I want to talk to my younger people, my old school people. When I was growing up, I'm in my mid-30s, yeah? So I'll keep it real with you. Mid-30s, pushing on a bit to the 40s. Not quite there yet, but back in the day, in the 90s, football grounds were open. I know nowadays, I feel like the younger generation, they were thinking to yourself now, what are you talking about? But my old school people, you know what I'm talking about. Literally, you could walk into football grounds if you walked past them back in the day. In the 90s, I'm going to give you 2 examples of that. First one, I was on a boat, Norfolk Broads. So I was going on a family trip with my stepdad, Malcolm, God bless him. still knocking on, doing his thing, man. So bless him, 72 years old now. So I was with him on a boat on the Norfolk Broads. Stayed on the boat for 1 week. You know, we started off from Staines, and we was approaching like East Anglia sides, you know, Norwich, Ipswich area. And as a, you know, football fan at the time, and still now, early days, we come across a football ground. So we tied up the boat, anchored it, as they say. I don't know what the right terminology is, but we tied up the boat, hooked it up, got off the boat, Norwich City football ground right there. So in my mind, I'm like a kid. I'm like, yeah, I want to go in the ground. I want to see the ground. So boom, bam, now we've come out. We've gone up to the ground. The ground's open. So all we've done now, we've just walked in. We've walked in. I'm wearing my, was it EDF? I think it wasn't even EDF Energy at the time. It was another energy company at the time. I was wearing a T-shirt. So I remember we walked into the middle of the ground while the groundsman was, you know, splashing some water on the pitch. And yeah, took a photo right in the middle of the ground. So I got a picture. I'll bring it to the podcast maybe in the next episode of me right in the middle of Norwich Football Club on a sparkly summer's day in East Anglia. And the ground was open in full view and full sight. So that was one of my open ground experiences. Let me know in the comments if you've ever been to an open ground at a football stadium or any kind of sporting kind of landmark and just, you know, had your way. Another example, this was even more of another level now. We took up the levels a bit on this example, you know. So this one now. So we've gone to, you know, back in the day, you could play out back in the day. It's not like now where you don't really see kids playing football just outside randomly anymore. Apart from if, you know, you have five-a-side, you have proper parks and stuff like that. But, you know, we'd have a ball and we'll kick a ball anywhere. As long as we got the ball, we're going anywhere and everywhere to kick a football. So us, like, being imaginary, you know, using our imagination, we was like, okay, let's go to Selhurst Park and let's see what's going on. We used to always go up there when I was a youngster and try and get autographs from the players. Shout out to Bruce Dyer, Clinton Morrison. He used to give me tickets when I was a kid, you know, players lounge, balling at like 13 years old. You know, big shouts to Clinton Morrison, Bruce Dyer. So, yeah, we used to always go down to the ground, just, you know, see if we could see players. This occasion, we've gone down on a non-match day. We've gone down there. Again, the ground's open. So what we've done, we've said, all right, we've got a football. The ground's open. We can't see a groundsman anywhere. There's nobody in sight. But you know what? Before we could get into the ground, there was a small little kind of like, not a small, quite a big gate. But we were so small at the time. This gate was the only one gate holding us back from getting into the stadium to go and play football. So what we done, me and my friend, I'm not going to name his name on camera, me and my friend, we snuck underneath the little fencing that there was, quite a big fencing, should I say, because we were so small. Threw the ball over, and then, yeah, we was in. And these were the times when Wimbledon and Crystal Palace shared the ground together. It was around, I'm trying to think back to the time for context. It was like the time when David Beckham scored the halfway line goal at Selhurst Park. It was around them times because I remember how inspired I was those times to be a footballer at that age. I was about 15, I think now. Yeah, so I was super inspired. So that was our whole thing. We wanted to keep going to Selhurst Park to hopefully one day get a chance to kick a ball in that pitch. So, yeah, we was in. So imagine us. We're walking all the way to the halfway line. My friend, he heads to the other side of the goal, and I'm trying to do a David Beckham halfway liner in Selhurst Park as a 15-year-old kid. You know, we played football for about 15 minutes, you know. My friend was playing keeper. I was pretending to be Beckham, trying to get a halfway liner in, having fun. I couldn't believe it. I was astounded how we even made that happen. And it's one of them memories where I look back and I think, wow, open grounds. That is something in 2023 I don't think you're going to see again like that at that kind of level of football, on the Premier League level or Championship kind of level, or, you know, to see open grounds. Maybe in the lower leagues, maybe you'll still see open grounds, but at that level, having a chance to kick ball at Selhurst Park without being a professional footballer was pretty cool. Maybe in the future, a few charity games you want to bring me in, for the sports with Blake, we'll come and grace the pitch, hopefully. But yeah, those are some good memories, Very good, enjoyed it. Open grounds. So if you got any open ground stories, please let me know. I would love to know what grounds you managed to, sneak in and maybe kick some football without the groundsman looking. But eventually, the groundsman did kick us out. So he did hear us after about 20 minutes. It was like, oh, and we was out of there. But yeah, just mischievous little kids.
Cool. So let's take it to modern times.
Yes, here we go.
So about almost a third through the season now.
Okay.
So what's your top four? Who you looking at as your top four for the season, or even top five? Because it might be a top five.
Okay, all right. If we're saying top five, then I'm gonna first off go with I'm sorry, Jojo, man. I'm gonna apologise to you now as a Liverpool fan because I did not think Liverpool will make the top five. I'm not gonna go into detail, but I definitely think they won't make the top five. I think I think maybe top 8, but not top 5. Aston Villa gonna go with number 5. They're looking strong. Like their depth, like the way they look in their attitude, and I think it's like a re-emergence of the Birmingham crew, man. I feel it. Villa, it feels like Villa of the 90s. If I go back, Villa of the 90s, yeah, it feels like a bit of Villa of that, a bit of old school Villa. Dwight York times even. We'll take it way back. So Villa are gonna go with top 5. Aston Villa. Number 4. I'm going to go with Newcastle United. Because I think Newcastle, they've really been demolition, really. They've been showing a side of them that reminds me of the Kevin Keegan era, when they was playing very, fluid football, fast-paced, intense, aggressive, with intent, and doing a lot of damage. The way they disposed of my team, Manchester United, I was like, okay, yeah, you guys are you're serious, and I think people are starting to take note of Newcastle now, and their charge for the title. I know they've come into some money, but I think a lot of Premier League clubs are coming into money nowadays. So it's really kind of what you do with the money, and the attitude of your players, how they're going to react when it's game time. But then there's a lot of dynamics in football at the moment. With these VAR decisions, the increase of games, the amount of games you're playing, the injuries. So you always got to adapt. I think Newcastle, they're looking very strong right now. So I would say with the way they're playing and the intensity, I think they've definitely got a chance for top 4 as well. So I'll put them in there. Number 3, I'll probably go with... I'm going to go with Arsenal. I think Arsenal are going to be there. Again, Arsenal, they've come into some next confidence. It's like Arsenal's on fire. It's like, yeah, they got that energy about them. It feels like party time at the Emirates. Every time I look on social media, people are there posting, they're looking happy at the Emirates. It's happy days again. I think a mate told me that, when Arsenal were going through their hard times, Emirates was never full. It didn't have that energy. It was just like a library, people were saying. So, I'm hearing that the noise is back at Emirates, and by the way they're playing, they've got their mojo back. The manager's passionate, as we know. Arteta, he's a passionate man. He made some big comments about VAR recently. That's caused a bit of controversy, but that's passion for you. And I think his passion as a manager, it really sparkles down to the players. And manager and players, they're connected, so those energies will align. So I see Arsenal, having a good charge for the Premier League title, obviously, but definitely probably second again for me. I'm not really going to go where... so I'm going to go Aston Villa 5, Newcastle 4, Arsenal third. Arsenal third. The comments. But yeah, Number 2, I'm gonna go with my boys. My boys. It may be a controversial talk right now. I'm gonna go my boys, Manchester United. I think we're gonna go one more this season. I know people are saying, "Oh, what are you on about?" But we got great form at the moment. As we record this podcast, we've got the best form in the Premier League, I believe, 4 out of 5 wins. We scrape results, but end of the day, it's all about winning. I know Man U don't really have a style of play at the moment, but when you have a lot of injuries and you've got big crisis going on and your whole defence has been wiped out, and you're trying to just trying to move forward game by game. All you could do as a manager, I think, is just manage the game by game and just see how it goes. And I think Ten Hag, he's done well by seeing how it goes, considering the pressure he's been under. I feel like as a United boss, the pressure's always on you. People are always looking to scrutinise just because you're Man United. I think that's always been the case as one of the big richest clubs in the game.
This is Sports with Blake.
So Ten Hag, he's had we're pushing for second place. I feel that would be an improvement on last season, and he knows how to grind out results. It's not going to be football that he played in Ajax, but right now he's going to grind out the results, and like we done last season, we had a late title charge last season by coming third. People never saw that coming. I know it's not nice football. It's not great, but second place, I can see it happening if we keep grinding out the results. And obviously, number 1, I'm going to go with Man City again to take it. I think Haaland, he's just unstoppable, isn't he? He's just an unstoppable player, goal machine, always holding it up. And I think he's gonna be top scorer this season. Maybe 40, maybe 45 goals this season. Who knows? 45, 50. How many did he get last season?
What, in total or in the league?
In the league.
I want to say 36, maybe.
Yeah, I reckon he'd probably get 50 this season.
He might be injured.
He's got an injury right now, though.
Yeah, he might be because he came off in the friendly for Norway.
Yeah, okay. Highland, but it's funny. I think I saw a clip of Highland walking along the Manchester City high street. Manchester. I think it's Piccadilly. He was around Piccadilly walking down the high street, and a car must have come by and said, I was like screaming at Haaland. I think he said you're rubbish or something like that. And he must have commented back and was like, whatever. I was just interested to see a player of that caliber just walking down the street casually. Have you seen a player walking down the street casually before? Premier League.
I saw Jermaine Defoe at petrol station.
Oh, I love that. What was he getting? Was he diesel or?
I'm not too
Unleaded?
sure. This was when I think we were on our way to a football match.
Yeah.
Because this was when I was in college. So we had an away game and we just saw him at petrol station. Then I remember one of my friends just screamed, Defoe! And then everyone hopped out of the car there and he let us take a picture with him.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. I think the last one I saw was, who was it? The last guy was Clinton Morrison, wasn't it? Nighttown. That was random. Literally jumped off the lift to come and greet him. Like I was going up the lift, second floor. I jumped off the elevator. Clinton! Just to, greet him. Legend. That's first time I'd met him since I was a kid. So I had to greet him, and hopefully we can get him on the podcast one day because I do have his number, so I've got to give him a call. Shout out to Clinton Morrison. So my top 4, Jojo, you don't have to agree. Maybe you give me a top 4 quickly, actually. I'm going to go Manchester City just because of the dominance, and they're still not showing any sign of slowing down. The manager's doing a good job in keeping the team adaptable and changing the squad, rotating, and looks like he's looking to the future as well. He's always ahead of the game, I think. So I think they'll be number 1. I know Man United, we're a dark horse. I know you're thinking because I got a Man United top on, I'm absolutely mental, I'm crazy. But just stick with me. if we're in a couple of months' time, I'm telling you, United second place. Number 3, we're going with Arsenal, and then number 4, we're going with Newcastle United, and then Aston Villa for the 5th place in the Premier League. So, Jojo, you want to do a quick one?
I'll say City, Arsenal.
In order.
Yes, I'll say City, then probably Arsenal, then probably Liverpool, then Tottenham, and then maybe Newcastle 5th. But I'm just basing it off what I've seen so far, because no teams won the league and lost 5 games, and you guys
that drive at Man United.
you already lost 5 games, and I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and like the fan base. They talk for themselves. They know how they feel, so I don't need to add to it.
Oh man, so you get shots fired. Oh man, good luck. It's going to be a competitive season. We're just warming up. We're only a quarter way through. But we say we're a quarter way through, but it's going to fly by. Transfer window's coming up in January, so I guess there'll be some more signings from all clubs, I would imagine. Top up time, top up your drink, your drinker players, and see what's happening for the final quarter. Cause, as it gets to that back end, titles on the line, cups on the line. You know what I've been watching? Just a quick one. Side note, I've been watching the FA Cup games, and those have been excellent because it's just showing that local football. I watched Bromley, Blackpool. That was a real local game. But it's just seeing the clubs like right at the grassroots level getting a chance at the big time, man. I love that whole FA Cup spirit and those kind of games, man. I love that dynamic. Yeah, so speaking of kind of like, local, I started my journey in football reporting a week ago actually, and it was real insightful because I got to do the Rotherham United game in the Championship, and it's, what I like about it. I like the whole thing about you go around the ground, you get to soak in for the day what that whole area's about, from the travelling to what the club's about, to picking out the programme, seeing who's on the team sheet today, doing your research beforehand, getting to know what players play for the club, interesting facts, things that you could pick up and present during the game. I loved all of that. I was proper geeking and all of that. So it was nice to kick off with a game like that. I also, I could have picked a few different games, but I wanted to kind of push myself to pick Championship because I thought, obviously, that's quite a competitive game at quite a high level of football. So I wanted to kind of test my reporting level by doing that. And, I'm a rookie. I'm not going to go and sit here on the podcast and talk like I'm like some experienced reporter. That's the first time I'd ever done a football report, ever, properly. So I went in like a virgin. I practiced at home, but I went in like a complete virgin because that's the only way you can do things, right? You got to go in and just dive in and grow from there. So, yeah, I dove in, was bricking it, was bloody scared to death, I'll tell you, but wonderful experience. And from that, I've got the itch for it so much. I'm like, wow, I can't wait to do the next one. So I would always say to people, man, you're watching this, man, always chase your dreams, because that's another dream of mine, to do a match football reporting. I never thought I could do it, because you look at commentators, they're so detailed in their analysis. I don't think that one I could do. It's quite a lot intense on my brain. I think reporting's my vibe. It's short, it's snappy, you can get to the point kind of thing, and you're not there for too long. You're kind of in and out, and you're reporting on live game action real quick. So just getting that dynamic, I really enjoyed it, and I look forward to doing more. And I'll definitely keep you guys posted on the pod when I'm doing more, and when they will go out and what channels they'll go out and what programs they'd be on. Don't want to give too many details about where that broadcast was or anything like that, but that's giving you a little gist of my first reporting experience at Watford against Rotherham, and it was 5-0 by the way to Watford, so it was a big one to pick. Yeah, literally. And I had the greatest view I've ever been ever in my life. Big shout out to the Vicarage Road crew. You know, Graham Taylor, footballing legend. They got a big mule of him out the front of the club. Obviously, Anthony Joshua, big AJ's home area, the boxer. Elton John used to own Watford Football Club, so that was interesting history. Elton John, he's got the Elton John stand. He's got his own stand there. Yeah, good vibes. Even you go in the media room, you've got Elton John pictures everywhere. You know, you can't complain. A bit of free grub as well, you know. So, yeah, all in all, fantastic day. Big shouts to the stewards as well, because you know you got to love a steward who's got a story. You know them ones where you see a steward, you share an old school football story, and then you just catch a little joke and catch a little vibe. But yeah, good day out. Definitely look forward to doing more reporting on the football. And there's nothing. One thing I'll tell you, there's one adrenaline rush that was on another level, and I need more of that. There's nothing like, if you're doing reporting, I'm sure, if anyone's interested in like reporting or doing any kind of reporting in any kind of sport, what I experienced, that feeling, what I experienced, that's why I want to do more. And you know what the experience I experienced was when you are watching a football game, you're doing the analysis, and a goal goes in, and you've got to react to the goal. Wow. There's nothing like it. Oh, it's gone in. Oh, and you're reacting, and you go and give your comment, you give your update, what's going on, who scored, all of that. Proper feeling, I can't lie. Proper feeling with the noise in the background, everything was wonderful. So, yeah, watch your space, peeps. Your local reporter.
This is Sports with Blake.
Sports with Blake podcast. We're in the boxing section right now, and it's all about mindset, mentality, life. That's what we talk. Boxing, stories, and just vibes, man. So let's get straight to it. It's Dan Blake here.
Where would you say is the most interesting place you met a boxer?
Well, I would say the most interesting place I've met a boxer, yeah, definitely has to be Daniel Debar, I'd say. So I was in the first place, I was in the gym, and I was in the gym getting my training on, bit of weights and that, getting the guns out. Cheers, a bit of weights, done a little weight session, bit of weight session, feeling all right. Then decided to, hit the cardio, quick 20, 30-minute session in the cardio area, hit the treadmill. I turned to my right, I see somebody I recognize. I was like, right, that face looks so familiar, I was like, whoa, I recognize this guy. He looks like somebody on TV or a boxer or something like that. I looked closely again, and he was on the running machine as well, running next to me. And there was a girl running next to him, and then another man on the other side, next to him, next to the girl. And then I've gone, so I said, do you box? And he was like, yeah. I was like, what, you Daniel Debar? He was like, yeah. He started smiling, and I was like, yes. I see you. And these times you were supposed to fight Dave Allen. The energy was in the air that he was going to fight Dave Allen. And I said to him, first thing I said to him is, you reckon you can beat Dave Allen? He was like, yeah, knock him out. I was like, all right, cool. And yeah, we just had a quick convo, man. We was talking. I think he done about 15-minute cardio session, not knowing that the people with him at the time, I didn't know at the time. I'd recognised her, but I wasn't sure. It was his sister, Caroline Debar, and I think his younger brother also. They were all three of them. They were training in the gym together. I love that, man. I love the family unity of them all training together in the gym, putting the work in. And yeah, we had a talk. I remember him saying to me, he must have asked me, do I box? And I said, not like you. But, I had a little move around here and there. But, I'm not a boxer. But then he said to me, one thing you should do. And I was like, what's that, man? And he was like, you should definitely, when you have kids, teach your kids how to box. And I was like, oh, that's a nice idea. I was thinking, yeah. I was like, okay, that's a nice game. So Daniel Debar gave me a a random life tip, which was quite interesting, and yeah, he carried on his training session. We took a little picture for the IG. That was the first time I'd met Daniel DeBar, the heavyweight. And he went on to, fight Usyk, obviously, and nearly dethroned Usyk from his belt. But he went on to use a few more machines, from what I remember. Jojo, what's that one? What's that? You're a gym man. I see you. What's that exercise where you got a little shoulder thing on your back and you go side to side? Like you can put it on your back and then you move it left, right. It's like a sack. It's like a sack or something like that. You know what I mean? What's it called?
I don't know what you're describing.
Like if you were to put like something on you see, like when you go to like I say the gymnastics kind of area.
Okay.
And then they've got those little things where you can pick them up and then just move them left to the right.
Like a heavy bag?
Yeah, but they're smaller heavy bags. So yeah, he was using the kind of heavy bags, I think for his back, a bit of back exercises he was doing with that. That was really impressive. But you know what I had in the back of my mind in hindsight, which I was thinking, man, what would you have done, Jojo, if he was in the gym with Daniel DeBar?
I'd have minded my business, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I don't know, I maybe would have just said cool and then kept it moving.
Yeah. But this is this is me now. Like, so what I was thinking afterwards, I was like, bloody hell, I should have asked him to train with him. I was like me trying to bloody spar a heavyweight. Bloody hell, am I off my rocker? But in my mind was like, how much would it be like to spar with him? Yeah, big shout out to Daniel DeBar. But then, hold on, we've had a bit more of another encounter. So we had a second encounter. I bumped into Daniel again, maybe a year and a half later, and in Sainsbury's local. That was interesting. So we went from the gym to the groceries. So yeah, bumped into Daniel just before the Usyk fight as well. Jojo, just before the Usyk fight. And his words to me was, I'm bringing the belts back to Deptford, mate. Those were his words. I'm bringing the belts back to Deptford. I remember that quote staying in my head. And I was like, yeah, I believe you, man. I could see it. And while he was getting his orange juice, from what I remember, picking up his orange juice, a few vegetables. So yeah, man, I love that. You see that? See what I mean? Boxers are real, local lads, getting the groceries, just confirmed about the Usyk fight, and he was going to bring the belts back to Deptford, man. Big shout out to Daniel DeBar. That was another moment in encounter in Sainsbury's local, which we had just on a casual day of life. That's what this podcast is about, man. It's just about a few casual predictions, life stories that we've encountered in our lives with footballers and boxers. And yeah, so you never know if you're out and about. You may meet your favourite boxer or your favourite athlete in Sainsbury's local. You never know. Yeah, that was it, man. Gave him a little spud as you do. And then, yeah, kept it moving and wished him all the best for the Usyk fight. And obviously about a month later, he went on to have quite a controversial fight of Usyk where he landed a low blow, or supposedly a low blow. Depends on which way you think the rules lie. If you ask me, in my opinion, I think it was on the button. On the button in boxing terms means it was a legal shot, really. So just on the illegal line, I believe. I asked a few boxers' opinions on that at the time. Light heavyweight Craig Richards, who's wearing his T-shirt. Craig, you got to pay me for this later, mate. I'll take a payment of £1,000, thank you. Yeah, he said I was on the button as well. I remember calling Craig immediately after the fight. He said it's on the button. And yeah, I believe it was on the button as well. What do you think, Jojo, of that decision?
Could go either way, to be honest. But, like, you can't... It's not enough of a decision, I think, for it to be like, oh, I've been robbed.
Okay. To warrant an appeal and all of that kind of stuff. So really, on the referees, what's the word? on the referee's decision, really. He could have just gave it or he didn't give it. So it would have been up to him, really. He could have. But unlucky Daniel, and Daniel goes again soon. And we'll discuss his fight a bit later in the pod. But yeah, catch your favourite boxer, local. Hold on. Before we can move on, Jojo, favourite boxer, seen them local. Where have you seen a local boxer in the local environment?
I haven't seen anyone. Like I've seen people I know.
Yeah, give
but,
you know a lot of stars, mate. Give us a name.
But I don't know them as boxers. I know them as people.
Yes,
so.
but as boxers, they are people, so it's the same thing. So please share with us, please. Random place.
There isn't. I don't have a random place. Maybe I don't know. I saw Lawrence Okoli in the gym.
Okay, what was that like? Was it a training session?
Yeah, he was just on the treadmill.
Okay, what were you doing?
I can't remember. I think I probably I'll leave it on my way in or on my way out. I can't remember. This was a good 4 years ago, maybe.
Okay, interesting. Let me ask you a question on that before we move on. When you saw him on the treadmill, did he look like he was going in, like mid-pace, high pace, casual pace?
It was casual.
Okay, interesting. Just put a light sweat. Yeah, okay. Yeah, man. Big shout out to Lawrence Okoli, doing his thing as well. Big cruiserweight boxer. Big shout out to him, yeah, man. Yes, Daniel Z's Joshua Buatsi rescheduled to February the 3rd, 2024. And hopefully we'll be there with the Sports with Blake podcast. Yeah, so I went to the weigh-in in Croydon before it was cancelled in Box Park, which was really good in Croydon. That was something for the community, in light of the incident that happened in Croydon. So with the young girl, the knife crime incident there. So it was good to have that in the community. And something positive, the kids was out, the young people was out, had the boxing machine for the kids to let us some steam, get them high scores in. That was hard hitter machine, which was nice. That was fun, good dynamic there. And yeah, it was a good turnout. You had all the stars out there from Boxer, Johnny Nelson, Stamina for Sal, Master Knowledge was there from the podcast. And big shouts to the Filthy Fellas who were also there as well. And I remember Dan and Josh, they kind of sparred separately. They sparred separately. Obviously, they're having to move around separately. It kicked off with Joshua. Yeah, it kicked off with Buatsi in the ring, having to move around with some young kids from the area. Showcasing a few skills, a few good footwork, a few lean moves, a few hooks, a few right hands, a few uppercuts, doing a few things. But you know what? He looked. Joshua looked solid. He looked solid. He looked compact. He looked tidy. He looked like somebody that's in good shape, and he looked focused. The kids were taking pictures of him. He was in good spirits, good energy, and he looked ready. So big shout out to Joshua Buatsi. And Dan Oziz also at the weigh-in. He looked really good. He looked sharp. He was doing a leaping jab, which was very nice. I like that technique he was doing in the weigh-in. I feel like he's going to definitely maybe try and use that on fight night. That leaping jab is something that he uses. And it's quite, what's the word? It's definitely his style. And it's something he's used in the past, and I feel like that's something he was working on in the weigh-in, and it looks real dangerous. So I think that's a shot to look out for, that leaping jab from Dan Oziz on fight night. Yeah, he looked sharp, looked really good, in good spirits again. I ended up having a chat with him, and hopefully we can get him on the podcast in the future as well. Dan Oziz, definitely someone that's had a great run as well. Doing his thing, good momentum at the moment, being winning the British, the Commonwealth and the European title, and now challenging Joshua He's had a British battle before with Craig, which was a phenomenal fight with Craig Richards. And he's about to have another one with Dan Aziz. And for me, it's a, tad of the tape, really. I think away from after what I saw at the weigh-in, leading up to February the 3rd, I think Bawatsi, he's a skilled fighter, Olympic pedigree, great amateur pedigree, very good inside fighter, has got kind of a never say never attitude in the ring, doesn't look like a man that, is going to stop punching, definitely is going to be a warrior to the end. So Boatsi's definitely going to be there when Dan's putting the pressure on him on the inside, because Dan likes to fight close up. I think Boatsi's going to be there with him all the way. So I feel like maybe a fight where they're both going to be centre of the ring, going at it together, swinging for the fences. It could be that kind of dynamic, but then at the same time, it's not really smart as well. Someone may opt for a different kind of tactic. Maybe Watsi maybe he fights on the outside a bit, moves around a bit, and tries to tire out Dan. So definitely there's that dynamic where I think Joshua may use his jab more, may use his height advantage as well. Yeah, may use his height to kind of, take the sting out of Dan in the early rounds and then try to get to him late, I think. And then on Dan's side of things, I feel that Dan's definitely going to bring the fight to him. I think he has no kind of other switch really than to do that. So I think Dan's going to bring it to him, the intensity, those leaping jabs, as I was saying, maybe some leaping uppercuts as well, trying to work the uppercut as a smaller man, trying to really get inside and try to rough Joshua up. I think that's going to be his tactic. And that makes for a great fight between the both of them at the Wembley Arena now, not O2 Arena anymore. So those are my kind of keys to victory for both fighters. I feel Dan's going to come with an intense inside game, and it's if Joshua can withstand that or not. And then on Boatsi's side, I think if I was him, man, it'll be that jab, just kind of, tiring Dan out, trying to get to Dan tired out, and then maybe, go for the win in the late rounds, because Dan's going to be high intensity all the fight, so it's going to be an interesting dynamic. So, that's my opinion on Joshua Boatsi, Dan Aziz, but it's going to be a great fight. Both London guys, South London, wishing them all the best. And yeah. Our Riyadh season, of course. What's going on in Saudi Arabia now is phenomenal, man. Like, the boxers are getting paid well. I wish I'd get some of that money. The guys are getting paid well. To the big fights are getting made now. I enjoy Fury and Ngannou. I was surprised by Ngannou's performance, being a boxer for the first time. I didn't see that coming. Fury looked a bit off that day, but he got the victory, got the nod, and he goes again for the Usyk fight on, I believe it's February the 13th, the Usyk fight. So Riyadh season now has announced a big card a few days ago on December 23rd, featuring so many fighters, featuring former guests of the show, Ellis Soro. So if you go back to Sports with Blake podcast, I believe it's episode 7 or 8, he was on the show talking in depth about his career. Queensbury Promotions, Ellis Soro, I think he fights Bataya. I think that's how you pronounce his name. He's the WBC Cruiserweight champion currently. Signed to Matchroom Boxing. Ellis Soro will be challenging him for the Cruiserweight belt, World Championship, WBC. That's going to be a great fight. I know Ellis is like an underdog from the bookies and what people are saying, but Ellis has been on great form, having great displays on Queensbury Promotions. some great knockouts. Always known for his ferocious performances and standout performances, and people know that he's got knockout power, and he showcased that. And so Ellis Zora is on a great run, winning his last fight at the York Hall also. And yeah, he gets his big moment in Riyadh. Big shouts to Ellis Zora, man. Lucian boy going big time, Saudi Arabia, challenging for the big belt. So that's going to be a good one. And then on that card, we've also got Deontay Wilder versus Joseph Parker, which is an interesting matchup also. I'll make my case for both of them. I think Wilder, obviously he's got that knockout power, and you know, when that power lands, we all know what time it is. It's normally lights out, going to sleep. But he hasn't been on much momentum, though. He hasn't really fought in the last couple of years. Since the Fury fight, he's had one round. He's had one round since the Fury fight against forgot the guy's name, but obviously he had the one round against Hellenius, and he hasn't fought since. And being 38, having one round since you fought Furies, I don't think it's ideal. Obviously, when you do things, I feel in life, that's not the actual thing. You can practice in the gym, you can watch tape or whatever. Maybe lose a bit of mojo if you're not in the ring as much. I would say possibly. That's with anything. I think you can look at something, but if you're not in the dance, if you're not boogieing in the party with everything that's going on, you may miss a little something there. So, as much as I kind of feel like I'm hearing that it's kind of people are saying Wilder's going to win it easy, I don't really think so, man. I think Parker's a live wire. He's been on a good run. He's been fighting regularly. It's going to be his full fight this year. And obviously he's got a big bone to pick, and he's got the what do you say? He's got the bit in his teeth after losing to Joe Joyce in that dramatic fight, which went to the wire. So I think that he's definitely looking to prove something, and he's got a big opportunity to make a big statement and get right back into the mix if he beats Wilder. So yeah, I definitely think that Parker's got a chance as well. So it's going to be a great fight. Joseph Parker's good on his feet. He's a young guy, mover. He's got good genetics, and he's got good power as well. So it's definitely going to be a competitive fight, man. That fight's going to be a live fight. It's not going to be a walk in the park at all. So yeah, Joseph Parker, Deontay Wilder. It's going to be a great fight. Look forward to that one. And then we've got Anthony Joshua against Otto Wallin. Otto Wallin from Sweden. He's the guy, if you don't remember, who fought Fury and then cut Fury. And Fury had blood leaking out. The referee could have stopped it, but didn't stop it. Kept it in Fury's favour, which was all good. Fury went on to get the win. But Otto Wallin, he's coming off some good wins. Looks up for it in the press conference, giving Joshua some lip, giving it back to him. Wasn't having none of it. He'll be looking to upset the apple cart. And that's going to be a very competitive fight. Otto Wallin from Sweden. He's tall as well. It's going to be an interesting fight, man. Southpaw. I know he's not Usyk, but Joshua's fought Usyk. Southpaw as well. So let's not forget that. And as I said, Otto Wallin, a referee could have called that decision and stopped the fight against Fury with all that blood leaking out from the cut from Usyk, from Otto Wallin's punch. So it's not to be taken lightly. Otto Wallin's going to be very dangerous in that fight, with that southpaw, that tricky southpaw stance. And I would say AJ, we all know what AJ is on right now. He's on a great run, 2 wins. Franklin, he beat Hellenius, that beautiful knockout. He's got a bit between his teeth again. He looks like a man on a mission. I think that if he beats Otto Wallin, he'll probably go down the route to fight Hergovich and try and get the belts, try and get a shot at a title when the unification belts, probably like go a bit can I say, when the unification belts fragnate and just go all over the place after we've got a champion, because you know the belts kind of separate, or some maybe the IBF or some of the it's IBF, the IBO, one of the two. Sorry, mistake me if I'm wrong, but if one of the belts get taken, then maybe he gets his crack then and he becomes a 3-time world champion. So I see kind of where the route he's going down and why he's going down that. AJ looks like he means business. So from that press conference, he was firm. He was giving it to everybody there. He looked serious. He looked like he didn't come for games. Like, even with the Wilder, when they met each other and shook each other's hands, he looked like a man that meant business. He didn't look like he was there to smile up too much. And I think he's going to be ready for Atawalin. It's going to be a good fight. Obviously, we know AJ's got great boxing skills, and he's on a knockout run, so I feel like you'll be aiming for an early knockout in that fight, trying to get the job done in spectacular fashion again and look good going into possibly next year, big Wilder fights, maybe in Saudi, or a world title fight, possibly, if he gets in the number one contender ranking to one of them belts after the Usyk Fury fight. So after that one, what else we got on the card? We got Daniel Dubois, Jarrell Miller. Oh wow, Daniel Dubois, Jarrell Miller. That one. Oh, you were talking about that one earlier. What's your opinion on that, man? They was giving. Did you see the press conference? They were giving smack talk to each other and all of that.
No, but Miller doesn't have the cleanest reputation. So, but I mean, my money's on Dubois just because I feel like he's been in tougher fights.
Interesting. Yeah, Jerome Miller's he's like a steam train, isn't it? He just comes at you with that size. That big size imposing on. Daniel's a big guy as well, though. So, and I think he's got good boxing fundamentals. That will be able to get the job done. I feel like maybe maybe Daniel will be looking to catch him with one of those hooks coming in, man. Yeah, and that could be kind of his tactic. Let Jerome Miller be the pressure fighter, which he said that he would basically in the press conference. He said he's going to be coming forward all the time, and coming right at you. So yeah, maybe he comes right at him and then he meets something on the way in, and then it's good night. But then maybe. We've seen Daniel in pressure situations before. People are saying that he's been quitting recently and stuff from the Joe Joyce fight and the Usyk fight. So it could be a situation where Jerome Miller just keeps putting the pressure on him, puts his body weight on him, hits him in the back of the head, starts roughing him up a bit, and then, gets a stoppage by just putting too much pressure on Daniel and making him crumble. There's that dynamic and that kind of case to be put to the table as well. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting fight. Definitely a fight I'm looking forward to. When I heard it was announced, Daniel Dubois and Jerome Miller, I was like, okay, yeah, this looks tasty. And, look forward to seeing that. What else we got?
We've got Bivol Arthur.
Oh, yeah, that's the last one, isn't it? Bivol. So, Bivol Arthur... big fight as well. Light heavyweights going at it. Lyndon Arthur, I know he's happy getting a shot at the world title. I feel like that's one of them things that probably got offered to him and he was like, yeah, I got to take it. That's how boxing goes, I feel like. When you get your chance, just take your shot because you never know when it's going to come again. So, Bivol, obviously, master tactician, beat Canelo, doing his thing in the division. Great footwork, great dancer on his feet. Just a great boxer in general. Very skilled and very disciplined in the way he boxes. So it's going to be a good fight with Bivol and Lyndon Arthur. I think Lyndon Arthur, he's got a good chance, if he just, just try to stick it on Bivol, I would say. Someone like when I've watched Lyndon Arthur, I feel like, if he sticks it on Bivol, put some pressure on him, you never know. But I feel like if he lets Bivol box, then it could be a long night. So, and he's a master boxer. We all know that. So the more he does that, the more he could force a stoppage as well. So Yeah, going to be an interesting fight between the both of them as well. Happy that another UK fighter's got a shot at a title. Ellis Zorro, Lyndon Arthur, doing their thing out of the UK. So it's good they're out in Saudi Arabia representing, and hopefully, we can keep getting and producing some of these guys on our shows. We want to shout to Big Ellis Zorro for getting on that card, and we salute you, and we hope you bring home possibly the belt against Bataille, and it's a big one, man. Enjoy. Riyadh Cesar.
What are your top 3 ring walks?
Top 3 ring walks in boxing. My top 3 ring walks are, so my first top 3 ring walk is since I'm doing these since lockdown. So my first one is Anthony Joshua against Kubrat Pulev. That one was dope. You know why? Because it's all about the energy you pick as well, the songs you pick when you do a ring walk. So the song he picked was I think it was a Rocky song, Broken Heart. Yeah, I think it's called Broken Heart, the Rocky song. It comes out in a broken heart. I was like, yeah, this is the one. He came out with that, and it goes. It's a couple of them kind of energies there. So it's got that whole kind of epicality energy. He came out in the white robe. He come to the ring, but it's like when he got in the ring, he stepped over the rope like the Undertaker. You know them ones. Undertaker energy, put his foot straight over the top rope like the Undertaker, and then he came in the ring, didn't stop the eye contact with Pulev all the way until the music stopped. I love that energy from AJ, and that was a proper good fight and good knockouts in that fight as well. I remember that. Pulev was giving it all the mouth in that one. Oh, but yeah, that was one of my favourite ring walks. Anthony Joshua, Kubrat Pulev, and then going on to number 2, I would say it's always been a favourite of mine. It's Kell Brook. Kell Brook, All of the Lights, Kanye West. Kell Brook and Amir Khan. I just love the way that song is just universal for Kell Brook in the boxing. It's just like everybody lights up their lighter in the stadium, and then he comes out. It's got that wrestling energy. It's got similar to, I don't know, a Shawn Michaels coming out, or, a Stone Cold or The Rock. It's got that kind of energy with All of the Lights. It's got the wrestling energy where it's epic. All the lights come on. Everybody's got a little lighter. It's got that anticipation. You know how it goes. Then it just comes in, looks at the crowd, got the energy, take your time, walk to the ring. And yeah, man, All of the Lights. All of the Lights. Kell Brook, that's a big one. That's my number 2. And then my last one, which I saw in the flesh, was Craig Richards, Joshua Buatsi, 2022, and this one was hilarious. It just goes, slew them my bare feelings, them I carry. It's just that the tune he came out to, Capleton. Oh man, I loved it. It was just like, it was so old school. It was such a vibe. It was so dancehall. It just like, it felt like we're going to a rave. Not a boxing match, but I loved it. It just like, it had the energy. It's like, and I think Craig even bust a little finger salute from what I remember. But yeah, I loved that, the energy when that tune came on and he came out and how the crowd was hyping up, and that must have definitely got him in the mood going into the ring. But yeah, I loved the energy on that one. So those are my top 3. One recap. So Joshua Pulev, Anthony Joshua's ring walk, Broken Heart, Rocky vibes. Number 2, Kell Brook, All of the Lights. Love that energy on that one against Amir Khan. And then number 3, Craig Richards versus Joshua Buatsi at the O2 Arena. I think it was Capleton. Big tune. Jeez.
This is Sports with Blake.